Clinically dead for 20 mins, why we have nothing to fear. In 2019, I faced a near-death experience that brought me to the brink of life and death. As I hovered between the two, I felt surrounded by prayers, like a river flowing with faith and hope. Someone close to me pleaded with God on my behalf, their words echoing in the space around me. At 34, I was a mother of 3, welcoming a new baby girl into the world. But what should have been a joyful time turned into a difficult journey. Complications from a medical procedure kept me in the hospital for 52 days, and a serious condition tested my strength. Despite the challenges, I found a glimmer of hope in sharing my story. My experience shows the power of perseverance and the strength of the human spirit. Before 2019, I had a healthy life, full of adventure and dreams. But that year changed everything. As I fought for my life, my family supported me every step of the way. My daughter cared for her siblings, and my loved ones prayed for me tirelessly. I faced one obstacle after another, but I kept going, fueled by faith and love. After surgery, my condition worsened, but I refused to lose hope. With the help of my sister, we discovered an infection that threatened my life. Despite the challenges, I held on, knowing that I was not alone in this fight. ACT scan showed a serious problem in my abdomen and pelvis, indicating a perforation. I needed emergency surgery right away. The surgeon found a lot of damage inside me, a hole in my bowel, infections and signs of sepsis, which is when an infection spreads through the body. The damage was extensive, a small hole in my bowel, multiple infections and a high risk of more infections. To help, they put in a wound vac, drains, and moved me to the ICU. Tests showed 3 life-threatening infections in my blood, which caused my organs to start failing. On my 34th birthday, I got more bad news. I had respiratory, kidney, and heart failure. I also had low blood and nosebleeds, so I needed blood transfusions to help. Despite all this, I held on to hope. I celebrated small improvements, like being able to move a little or seeing progress on my X-rays. With the support of my caregivers, I started to get better. It was hard, but I had my family and friends cheering me on. Slowly, I started to recover. My pneumonia went away, and I got stronger. Even though it's been tough, I know I'm strong enough to face anything. My scars remind me of what I've been through, but they also show how resilient I am. I remember the relief of having medicine to help with the pain, especially when changing the wound vac. It was a tough moment, but it changed my life. The day before I left the hospital, my sister visited. We had a great time together, laughing and singing. I couldn't wait to go home with her the next day. As she left, I felt sad but excited to start the next chapter of my recovery. Suddenly, a team of doctors and nurses barged into my room in a hurry, like there was a big problem. They were alerted by the heart monitoring team. Right as they came in, I was awake, but before I could react, my heart stopped, and I went into a VT cardiac arrest. It felt like my spirit left my body right away, and I could feel myself floating away from the heaviness of my physical body. I could hear people calling for help, and I could see them trying to save me, but I didn't feel any pain. It was like I was in a very peaceful sleep, like Sleeping Beauty. I realized I was there, but my spirit felt separate from my body. At first, I was really shocked and scared, thinking, oh no, I just died, but then, strangely, I started feeling calm and peaceful, like I had some kind of superpowers. I floated towards a warm, welcoming light in a dark tunnel. I felt light and free, like a feather, as I moved towards the light. The dark tunnel changed into bright rays of light, surrounded by endless space. I heard beautiful music and peaceful sounds that mesmerized me. The closer I got to the light, the more relaxed I felt. I felt special, like I belonged there, and I felt loved and forgiven. I didn't have any worries, stress, hunger, thirst, or pain. Time didn't seem to matter. I was going to meet God, and I felt comfortable. I could sense prayers flowing towards me, like they were real things passing by me, and it made me smile. This experience made me believe that God listens to prayers. I'm not sure if I knew who was praying, but I felt like each prayer was meant for me. The prayers felt powerful. I think the more prayers, the better. I think someone close to me, maybe my grandfather who I loved a lot, was praying for me before God. Then I found myself in a garden, and one flower caught my attention. It was a special burgundy to reddish lily flower that stood out among all the other flowers. Its stem looked clear, and you could see life flowing through it. This was like my peek into paradise. After this, things get blurry, and I'm not sure if I had a choice to stay or go back. Part of me wanted to stay, but another part wanted to go back to my kids and family. I couldn't turn back on my own. It felt like I was time-traveling backward when I went back into my body. It was like being pulled through a portal. Now, sometimes I feel strange in my body, like my spirit is not completely connected to it. I think the person I was before the cardiac arrest is different from who I am now. During all this, my sister got a call to come back to the hospital. She was just getting home and didn't know what was happening. But she knew it was serious. She rushed to my room and found out I had coded. She saw everyone trying to save me, and she fainted from shock. The doctor realized that was my sister, helped her up, and quickly took her out of the room. Meanwhile, they worked tirelessly for 20 minutes to bring me back to life. My parents were called, and everyone waited in a nearby room until I was stable. I didn't know I was in a coma to give my brain and heart a break. I needed a tube to help me breathe for 5 days, but was able to breathe on my own later. It took a while, but thankfully I wasn't severely injured. Doctors weren't sure how much my brain was affected since I didn't have oxygen for a bit. I don't remember waking up, but I was told I couldn't believe my heart stopped. Some details are still fuzzy. I was given medicine to forget the scary parts. But I kept some memories of the near-death experience close to my heart, thanks to God. On September 11th, 2019, I finally got to go home, but my heart wasn't working great. I had to take over 20 pills every day, wear a special vest, and have tubes in my arm and chest. I had to stay in the hospital again from September 14th to 17th, 2019, because I had stroke-like symptoms. Doctors found issues with my brain and I could only eat soft foods. Later, on December 4th, 2019, I needed another procedure called SICD placement. In 2019, I had more than 6 surgeries. It wasn't until a year later that I remembered my out-of-body experience and near-death moment. I didn't even know what a near-death experience was back then. Now I have PTSD, which brings back scary memories and feelings. I'm scared of hospitals, needles, and surgeries. I had to deal with stroke-like symptoms, memory loss, and feeling weak. But I'm slowly getting better. I still have good and bad days. Despite all this, I finished cardiac rehab in 2020 and changed my diet, which made me feel proud. My recovery is followed by a heart transplant specialist. Life is just a series of moments, and the spirit is just passing through. True, our spirit doesn't belong here, it belongs with God. I grasp that more now than before, so now I stopped holding on to temporary things. Everything has its season. Most days I feel inspired by my near-death and out-of-body experience. It's very hard to adjust once you get to know or meet your inner spirit outside your physical body. It's been 2 years, and I am still trying to process it. CHF doesn't define me. Even though I take a lot of daily pills, I want to spend each moment with my children and inspire others. Love is the key to eternity. That does it for today's video. Let me know what you thought about it in the comments below.